We will begin our meeting today. Thank you for being here, first of all. We appreciate it. We will do as much of our business here as judiciously as we can. We're going to ask Senator Anavitarte if he would begin our meeting with a invocation. Senator Anavitarte.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bow our heads. Dear Lord, just thank you for bringing us here this afternoon as we deliberate the people's business of Georgia. Just ask that you watch over us as each and every one of us goes home after this meeting, hopefully, and bless us and our families. Amen.
It is the 29th of March, and this is the Ethics Committee. The chair recognizes the presence of a quorum. A quick announcement or two. I want to thank the members of the committee for the work this term for sure. I also want to acknowledge the fact that we have 3 bills on the agenda today. These bills have previously been heard in committee. We've had discussion among both the committee as well as public input. So today's bill will be for presentation and discussion from the committee and action by the committee. 3 bills: H.R. 842, H.B. 932, and H.B. 1464. We're going to begin. I'm going to reverse the order a little bit and start with H.B. 1464. Chairman Burchett. Let me get to the right place. There is a committee substitute for 1464. You have it in your packets. It is LC 471850S. Senate committee substitute HB 1464 LC 471850S. Let me begin by speaking to the substitute, and then I'll ask the author to respond to that. I want to begin by thanking Chairman Burchett and his work on this bill. If you look at the substitute, certainly, and if you look at the underlying bill, you'll notice that it is substantially different. The bill that we have in front of us today is Section 9 of the underlying bill. But I want to acknowledge the work of Chairman Burchett. I want to, and his work on this large composite bill that worked on a number of issues relating to election concerns. But I also want to thank Chairman Gunter. Chairman Gunter's legislation is a part of this. It was HB 1392. Chairman Powell and his underlying bill, which was HB 86, Chairman Blackman, HB 933, Representative Hagan, whose was HB 1490. I certainly want to thank the President Pro Tem, the Chair, the Speaker Pro Tem, Jan Jones, for her work and work toward improving this legislation. And I want to thank Speaker Ralston. So, at the end of the day, we are here to consider a very limited version of the original bill. And essentially what this does is it ensures that, if I'll call your attention to line 13 and 14 of the Senate substitute, it allows a qualified and registered individual to vote either on one of the days that are designated for advanced or in-person voting, or the day of the election. So it expands the ability for individuals to vote, so they're no longer constrained to voting, to taking time off from their employer only on election day, but they would be allowed to take that time at any time during the early voting period. And I really think that's good legislation. It's certainly good for the voter, and I believe it's also good for the employer. So, with that, that's the scope of the bill. It's very, very focused. It deals with a very important part of this legislation. But I'm going to now ask Chairman Burchett if he would like to address this substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members, for allowing me to come before you. And certainly, I know I bored you with my 41-page bill, so this is much tempered down, and it's much easier to explain. This is one of my favorite pieces out of the underlying bill. This is to me the only front-facing portion, in that it the only front-facing portion that the average elector is going to be impacted. So this just broadens the ability to vote, and I appreciate the wisdom and discernment of this committee, and thank you for allowing me to present today.
Thank you, Chairman Richet. I also want to point out that the committee and the Senate is ready to continue to work with the House on other issues that we're presenting in the underlying bill. We appreciate your work in that area. Does any members of the committee have a question for the author, the distinguished minority leader?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question. I just want to make a statement. I've talked to many of the members from the community that were in the meeting the other day, and they were very grateful for your allowing them to speak. As you said to me on today, that you all were here to nearly 7:30. And I just wanted to express my gratitude for the public that came out to speak and to express their concerns, and appreciate you for allowing that to take place.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Again, I want to thank those who are willing to continue to accept that input. I want to thank Senator Ambatarte, Senator Harbison, Senator Jones, and Senator Harrell. They were all here allowing you to share your perspective. The Chair recognizes the Pro Tem.
I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting you to be called upon that quickly. I thought there'd probably be other questions. What happened to your bill? It was like it's on Slim Fast.
You're right. It's been a long session for this bill. It's going without eating. I do want to say one thing, Chairman Burns. You've been great to work with. I haven't had the opportunity to do that thus far, but you're a class act, and this issue that we're taking up is one of the most politicized issues across the country, not just Georgia. So I know each and every one of you are being hit by your constituents on both sides, and so I appreciate the willingness of the committee to hear the bill, and we'll just continue working on those issues that were in the bill, and hopefully we can find some middle ground.
Thank you. The Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There were a lot of facets of the original bill that I thought very highly of, and I hope that we get to see them again in the future. I appreciate your willingness to at least this one important issue to get that across hopefully the finish line for this year. And then, Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
I believe now is the appropriate time, Mr. Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I move we do pass HB 1464 LC 471850S.
I have a motion, I have a second from the Minority Leader. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, what is the will of the committee? Excuse me. The Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from Columbus.
Yes, sir. Could you repeat the LC number on that, please?
LC, make sure we got it right, 4718. Oh, excuse me, I'm on the wrong one. Got to get sure right. Yep, LC 471850S.
Yes. Could the author of the amendment could you explain exactly what this bill does? That's a change from what we are already doing in SB 202. Is it just adding the advanced voting as opposed to the day of voting?
That is correct. It actually SB 202.
If you want me to speak, I'll speak to the bill. So in SB 202, and maybe before that, we say as a state that from a policy standpoint, we are going to tell employers that they must allow their employees time off to vote on the day of elections. And so what this portion does is expands that requirement that employers allow that same time off for early voting. So we're expanding the ability for folks to go and vote. And it's from a reasonable perspective too. So it allows that if you are the employer, you can dictate that, all 30 of your employees aren't going at the same time, so it shuts you down. Also, if the hours of your operation are 2 hours outside of the hours that are offered for voting, then there's no need for them to take off, the employees to take off.
This is not new legislation, is that correct, sir?
This is not a new concept. This
Right.
is just the addition of the advanced voting.
Yes, and I want to be clear, this is not a new concept, but this is new legislation because this is an amendment, correct?
Now, this is a substitute.
Yeah, right.
But
this
by
is-
the way, this language was section 9 of the underlying bill. So
And-
we lifted the language of the underlying bill, and that is what is in this substitute.
Okay, so, to the author of the bill, do we have anything in place here in the state of Georgia now where an employer, if, say, one of the foundries in my district, where he or she or if every employee comes and asks for 2 days off, there's no way to confirm that that individual has gone and voted, or if they just left work for 2 hours, right?
As far as I know, there's no provision in law that does that. It's 2 hours of the day. If I misspoke and said 2 days, my apologies.
No, you didn't. No, I apologize. I may have misspoke. I meant 2 hours.
Sure.
Right. So if someone owns a business and their employees come to them and say, hey, each one of us want 2 hours off so that we can go and vote, then the employer, based on this, is mandated to allow them to leave. But the employer is prohibited, I believe, to ask them if they went and voted or anything of that nature. Is that not right? That I think that would probably, federal law would prohibit the employer from engaging in a conversation with an employee based on whether they went and voted or not?
I don't know that to be the case, but that sounds just like good policy that someone couldn't say, did you go vote? But
Right.
I don't know that, but I think
Yeah.
you're probably right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that.
Now, any other questions? I have a motion. I have a second. What's the will of the committee? Those in favor of the do pass motion, please indicate with the uplifted hand. I see 10. Thank you very much. That's unanimous. I appreciate it. Congratulations, Mr. Burchett. Now you get to go enjoy rules.
Very good. Thank you,
Very
Mr.
good.
Chairman.
Good luck
Thank you,
in
committee members.
rules. Good luck in rules. We will now consider House Resolution 842. Representative Cantrell. This also has a Senate substitute to House Resolution 842. We're working from LC 432385S. And the chair would just point out that there's only a single change to this original underlying legislation. Hold on just a second. Right, I've got to get to the right one. Yeah, 1841S. Is that correct? There we go. We got the right one. So it's LC 4781841S. There's only a single adjustment. It is on line 19. I'd call your attention to line 19. The number 60 was replaced with? I changed it in 3 places. Thank you very much. So on line 19, and it's in the ballot language on line 41. And in line 3 in the title. Thank you very much. So the only thing that was changed was the number from 60 was moved to 50, and it is in 3 places, lines 3, 19, and 41. Chair recognizes the author to speak to the substitute.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to come back. I'm happy with the substitute. I think 50 is fine. Did the committee give any consideration to using the word half?
That was not in the consideration.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to think about messaging when the voter goes into the ballot.
Yeah.
booth to, you know,
50%?
would half sound,
One half? I need to just quickly defer with the legal counsel. Any concerns about the wording one half?
No, sir, do you want it, would y'all want it all three places or just in the ballot language?
I would say be consistent and put it, be the same in every place. That'd be my preference personally, but I'm not,
Do I hear a friendly amendment from the committee? Chair recognizes the majority leader.
I would like to make that amendment if I could. On line 3, change 50% to 1/2.
Very good.
On line 19, 50% to 1/2. And on line 41, 50% to 1/2.
Thank you very much. All right, I have an amendment to make those three changes. Is there a second? Second, I have a second from Senator Harrell. Any further discussion on the amendment? See, a question? Minority Leader?
Oh, never mind. I think I got it. 50% or.
It's
been
been changed to half.
Before of, is that correct? Of the median household income in Georgia.
Why do you like 50%?
Is that correct?
Is that, so it would be equal to 1/2 of on line 3, and then equal to 1/2 of on line 19, and then equal to 1/2 of on line 41. So I have a motion for the amendment, and I have a second from Senator Harrell. Those in favor of the amendment? I'm sorry.
I'm still
Certainly.
not clear. You remove percent?
Correct.
Okay. Just want to be sure.
That's okay. I agree with you. Thank you very much. Senator recognizes Senator
Just to,
Robertson. I'm sorry, Senator Hatchett.
just to understand the amendment, are we changing it to the words 1/2 or is it the fraction?
The word
Okay.
1/2. 1 space.
Yeah, it does sound like judiciary.
HALF. ONE space.
what's the meaning of the word
HALF.
one? Is it the number one or the word one?
1/2. Moving along. All those questions are answered. We are clear that we're changing the word 50% to ONE space HALF. Is that correct? Thank you very much. All those in favor of the amendment indicate with the uplifted hand. Favor of the amendment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 5. All those opposed, like sign. 5.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry I suggested it, Mr. Chair.
I think the chair goes with 1/2. So let the record show it. Okay, so the vote was on the amendment was tied at 5-5, and would it? Oh well. Okay. Okay. All right. We have an amendment that has passed to an underlying bill, HB 842 substitute. Chair recognizes the pro tem.
Mr. Chairman, isn't it true this is what you get when you have a meeting that begins at 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Absolutely. The gentleman knows of what he
Thank
speaks.
you.
Indeed he
right.
does. Indeed he does. Okay. So we have an amended substitute, and now the question is on the underlying bill. What is the will of the committee? What is the will of the committee? Do pass. Thank you. Senator Butler, the minority leader. Second from Senator Jones. No further discussion. I cringe. Seeing no further discussion, those in favor of HB 842 substitute as amended indicate with the uplifted hand. All right, I see 8. Thank you very much. Those opposed, maybe make that 7-4 and 3 opposed. 7-3. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think. Okay, I think. Very good. Okay, we're going to round out the day with a clean bill. And we're so glad to have Chairman Oliver with us. Thank you for coming. This is House Bill 932. Oh, sorry, 923. Someone is dyslexic. Me. 923. I think you're right. I think those late nights are impacting me for sure. But I appreciate the committee's help. No substitute, and there were no changes. So you actually have a synopsis on it, but it was in the prior meeting. Okay. So the chair recognizes Representative Oliver to speak to her bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very pleased to have an opportunity to talk about this bill and give the committee, again, just a brief history of the House work on issues relating to development authorities over the last year and a half. House Bill 23 represents the conclusion of a lot of those discussions and is supported by ACCG, Georgia Municipal Association, and is not opposed by the Georgia Economic Development Association. There were negotiations in the House about the questions that we've been raised and discussed at length. Who knows what a development authority deal might be, who's entitled to know, and who, if they know about what a deal might be offered, has the right to make a case in any kind of either annexation dispute resolution or bond validation hearing. As a result of all those discussions and about who is right to be in court to hear these matters or to who's no and when they're no, we came forward with a very simple and moderate two provisions, and this bill passed the House 173-0. Provision 1 is to limit the per diems that a development authority may be entitled to receive. There are only 4 counties under a statute passed in 1980 that are entitled to receive per diems. Those are Fulton, DeKalb, Cobb, and Gwinnett. There was some indication that among a development authority that they were abusing that per diem, and we now are asking that you cap the per diem a development authority member might make at the amount a Georgia General Assembly member per diem is. The second part of the bill for your consideration grants jurisdiction to the state campaign Georgia Government Transparency Campaign Finance Commission, that long name, jurisdiction to hear alleged violations of ethical violations by development authority members for all of the 700+ development authorities across Georgia. We do not have any legal authority of any ethics commission locally or statewide under current law to respond to any ethical violations, and this, after negotiations with a number of different stakeholders, is the proposal we make for the committee's consideration. This is a good opportunity for us to begin a discussion in a very positive way with the agreement of stakeholders that development authorities are part of our economic development structures. They're a good part of it, and we want to be working in a collaborative way.
Thank you. Questions for the author? Seeing none, what is the will of the committee? Have a move do pass from the Dean of the Senate, Senator Harbison II. Have a second. Have a second from the Leader Butler. Any further discussion? All those in favor of House Bill 923 indicate with the uplifted hand. Thank you very much. All those opposed, same sign. Chair sees none, so we have a unanimous 9-0 vote. That concludes the business of the committee today. I want to take a moment and just thank the committee for their work. I want to thank our staff. I want to thank Ashley Thomas and Blaine Salter and Keelan Cronin and Stuart Morelli. It's been a long few days for us, but I'm grateful for the privilege of service, and I look forward to seeing you. Good luck in rules. No further business. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
5:31. Almost made it.